Hello, I'm Miranda. I'm Megan. We're in Talented Art, and we want to give you some art tips to go along with our project for Romeo and Juliet. Go. Okay, one of the shading techniques, shading's very important, is blending. Blending is, one of the most common. It's basically just all about the pressure you put on the tip of the pencil. Obviously, the more pressure you put, the darker it is, and you just let up pressure as you go up. If the light is coming from the far left, the darkest part is going to be on the bottom right. And you always want to kind of follow the shape with your lines. Another thing, a lot of people tend to want to shade with their finger, but the oils in your hand kind of make it into a paint. So you kind of want to shade with a blending stump or this. I shade in circles. Honestly, not my best work, but you get the point.
For this next way of shading, it's kind of, you make little squiggly lines around the contour of the object, or you could just make any shape of lines, actually. Well, kind of, because this one's called squiggly, so I make little circles. You make them darker along the bottom right of the object if the light's coming from the top left. And then it's all in the pressure, so along the bottom right you just kind of make it darker and you make it lighter as you go up, like so. Just keep making them until you fill out the shape. And go over it to fill in the spaces that you miss. And that's it. Go.
And the last way that I was going to teach you to shade is cross contour, which is basically you make lines following the shape. And you just kind of layer them on top of each other, more towards the bottom so that it's darker. And this is, of course, assuming that the light is coming from the far left. And it's just to kind of create the illusion of shadows. And it also creates form. And that's the basics of it. And you can blend it if you want to. And that's it. Go. Okay, so to get you to try it, I was just thinking I could teach you how to draw the basic horse head, which of course, horses are one of my favorite animals. And drawing things can seem hard, but you really got to break them down into shapes. Like, my simplest way of explaining a horse head is you draw one large circle, and then a smaller oval. You draw kind of a cylinder, two triangles, and then you connect these two circles. Doesn't really have to be perfect, you get better at it. And I'm still, of course, trying to figure out exactly where to put the eye, but it's usually right about here. And then you can put the nostril, and then you erase the lines in between, which of course I use a dark pencil, so it's not erasing very well. You usually want to draw very light. And honestly, you just have to fill in the details after this, which takes practice. The hair comes from up here. And from what you learned about shading, the light's coming from here. That's not a good idea. Basically, shading would be here. It's the biggest shading, under here. And there's a muscle in the neck. It's honestly the simplest thing that I can show you. And it just takes practice. Especially hair. Hair takes a lot of practice.
Tell me about it.
I haven't even slightly mastered any of this. Try it yourself.